You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network. New shows every day. Find us at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Everyone's favorite time of year is right around the corner. College football season. To celebrate, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook, I may add, is putting new players in the center of the action with $200 in free bets instantly if you bet $1 or more on any college football game. Take advantage of this now. Limited time offer. You heard right. DraftKings is giving all new players $200 in free bets instantly when you place a bet of $1 or more on any college football game, no matter what. Head to DraftKings Sportsbook app now to check out all of the great promotions and daily odd boosts that they are offering. DraftKings Sportsbook is safe, secure, and reliable, located right here in the United States, so it's easy to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any college football game. That's promo code THPN to get your free $200 in free bets instantly for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. And welcome to episode 70, season 2 of Red Wings Rant, brought to you by the Brothers of Discussion and the Hockey Podcast Network, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Wings finally have a home. Today, we're going to have a shorty here for you. We're just going to discuss what the Detroit Red Wings roster at this very moment in the offseason could look like once we get rolling here. What we're going to take a look at is what Jay Fresh has put together in his War Roster Builder, everybody's favorite thing to mess around with. I highly recommend you guys check that out. And we'll do some comparables, we'll do some most likelies, we'll do some kind of boring rosters, and we might have one that relates to our previous episode, Elias Pettersson, and kind of tell the whole story here, what's going on in regards to where this roster is, even if things go swimmingly. So, with that settled in, let's go over some of the basics right before we jump in here. We are going to be talking about WAR, that is wins above replacement. Of course, we'll be going over multiple different charts of the WAR Roster Builder 4.0, brought to you by Jay Fresh. If you guys are going to be watching along on YouTube, you'll see the logo for Jay Fresh, but you just go ahead and find him on Patreon, subscribe. You can have access to the War Roster Builder as well. But what we want to do today is kind of show you where this projection is coming from. And this, of course, is something that Jay Fresh has done for every NHL team. He has WAR scores, again, the wins above replacement scores, to put a value on one player over another. How many wins can they add to a team as opposed to a replacement player? And scored out every team, every player. And with the War Roster Builder, you can play around and kind of see where is your team going to land based on what you have right now. And you can make some projections based on signings you might want, make some projections based on trades you might want. Maybe you're offer sheeting Elias Pettersson and you want to see how good the team's going to be. That's a little spoiler here. It's going to look pretty good, actually, just so you know. So stick around. We'll show you that at the end there. But we also played the game, too. If, let's say, Lucas Raymond makes the team and we're going to have a substantially better player than the, I would say, no WAR that is going to be displayed for a guy like Lucas Raymond. Why? Because he hasn't played a single game in the NHL. So we try to figure out who could he play like, and we can insert that player and get a better projection for the Red Wings are going to stand by the end of the season. And I start that conversation only because we are projected to be at 78 points by the end of this season. I'll go ahead and share this with you guys now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the War Roster Builder model. This is the default for the Detroit Red Wings. Again, 78 points, projected to be 28th in the standings. We have, if I may, if you're watching on YouTube, obviously you can read along, but for those listening on the podcast, it is first line, Verano, Larkin, Bertuzzi. Second line, Fabry, Suter, Zadina. Third line, Nemestikov, Rasmussen, Gagne. Fourth line, Giovanni Smith, Joe Veleno, and Adam Ernie. We'll run through the defensive pairings real quick here. Nick Leddy and Noronik are on the first pairing. DeKaiser and Sider on the second pairing. Mark Stahl and Troy Stetcher on the third pairing. And then our goalies, Nedeljkovic getting 50 games, Thomas Greiss getting 32 games, just so you guys get the full scope here of what I'm looking at. And the result would be, according to this projection, 78 points. So what can this 78 points mean to you? Well, it means we're not going to sniff a playoff spot. This 78 points means we're going to be closer to the bottom of the league again. And I always say to take these roster builders, these projected point standings, give it a plus or minus 5 points. And, you know, at best on that plus 5 from 78, that's going to get us up to 83. And if we take away 5, we drop down to 73. So there's a very good chance we're worse than 28th. And I only say that is something you need to take into consideration, because no matter how well any of these NHL teams play, still on an ice rink with a rubber puck. So as we roll along here, I just taking a look at this, I think the most fun thing to learn or to take a peek at here is this first line. Because even though we're projected to be at 78 points, there is something very impressive that the Red Wings have actually put together here. And even if you jumble up a couple of names here and try and move some stuff around, this line of Jakub Vrana, Dylan Larkin, and Tyler Bertuzzi is actually ranked in the top half of the league. This is going to go down as one of the better first lines in the NHL. And I'll tell you this right now, they actually have a better WAR than Palat, Braden Point, and Kucherov right now. And they're actually sniffing Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen over in Colorado. So this first line is nothing to sneeze at. And it's one of those things, too, where we keep saying we need that elite, definite center on that first line. And I think we're all pretty sure that we don't have it yet in Dylan Larkin. But this is something at least where you want to find the strength on this team. It's going to be the first line. And that might sound obvious, but I at least like to point out a lot of the positives here as we're going to keep rolling through this stuff. Now, if you guys are following along on YouTube, you can see some of the names up here. The location of Giovanni Smith and Joe Veleno being on the fourth line are actually going through on this with incomplete scores. So they're actually put through the system, and because they don't have full seasons in the NHL, they don't have a proper projection. So this fourth line is coming in at a 0.1 in regards to their 5-on-5 WAR score, but it's an incomplete, inaccurate representation. So one of the things to take a peek at here with this projected standings of 78 points is the likes of Giovanni Smith, Joe Veleno, and Moritz Seider is a big one here that do not have a real score going through on any of this stuff. And again, with either the transition like Moritz Seider is making from the SHL, or just the incomplete seasons that Veleno and Smith can provide to the likes of Jay Fresh, I mean, it would almost be irresponsible to come out with a score. So while we're sitting here talking about the 78 points, we're talking about sniffing the bottom of the league, there is a ton of potential here for that to change. And what we want to do is maybe take a peek at a couple of options here. Like, let's say Moritz Seider plays a little bit better than the not having any effect at all on the team. And we'll play that game here. And you're also going to see inserted in the Sam Gagne spot. I went ahead and played around, and let's pretend Lucas Raymond blows everybody's socks off, and he's going to just bypass the AHL, and he's going to have a full season in the NHL. Of course, be weird to put it out there, and he's also on the third line if he did that well. But I wanted to play that game, so we'll take a quick look. So I have to warn you before I open this up for anybody on YouTube. I wanted to take away the image here because some of you are going to gasp with the names I chose, and I just wanted to play the game. Like, let's say Lucas and Moritz Seider play at an absolutely elite level. And I chose a couple of names. One because, Cale Makar has been at the top of everyone's list for most exciting defenseman in the NHL right now. I mean, he's a top performer. So let's throw in Cale Makar. And then for Lucas Raymond, I went ahead and picked Mitch Marner because that was who he was getting compared to before the draft. So 2 reasons I did this. One, I wanted to have fun just to kind of see what would happen. And 2, I wanted to play the game here just to show you guys with inserting names like that into this roster. Still not going to get us close to a playoff spot. So as I pull this up here, you guys can see this. You can see Mitch Marner slotted in right wing on the third line with Rasmussen and Nemestikov. And Cale Makar slotted in on our second defensive pairing with Danny DeKeyser. Now, that second pairing D-line goes from our worst to our best. And the third line goes from pretty much just the detriment to this team to now maybe not one of the better lines in the league, but it's not a negative anymore. Throwing that in there. And what we did jump up to was 86 points in the projected standings. So playing that game, we get a little bit closer to what I'm going to say is 90 points. And that's because that is the lowest point total in the last 5 years to actually earn a playoff spot. So we don't quite get there. And this was playing the game of inserting some elite names. But if I may, we can play the game of trying to reach a 500 season. And that's 82 points in a season. And the way I guess I would define that is just you're taking 1 point per game. Boom, there's your 82 points. That's your 500-point season. So with that, what you'd want to see, and this isn't necessarily anything against Zach Rowinski or Nino Niederreiter. I think those two are very good hockey players, and I'd love to have them on the Red Wings. But it was just something where we're pulling back on the WAR projection model just to not put in 2 of the higher projected players in the league, and we'll just bring it back. Nito's around the 77%, and as I mentioned, that means he's better than 77% in the league, and Berwinski is in the mid-80s. So again, better than 80% of the league. And again, we're not saying that this is how they will perform. This is just by this graphic, by this analysis, how well they would have to perform for us to get to a 500 hockey team. So maybe this is just highlighting how many holes there are. Maybe this is highlighting how big a step Philip Zadina needs to make. But there's definitely a lot of points here that, for how low the score still is with inserting a couple of big names on this roster, whether you're talking about the first one I just showed you with Marner and Makar, or we're talking about the second one here with Niederreiter and Werenski. We're still not a playoff team, and it just goes to show that there are still so many holes here to fill. But I still think even with that, we could play this game with just those 2 names, but we could also play this game of inserting some higher WAR scores, like I said, with Zadina, with Veleno, with Giovanni Smith, Rasmussen. You'd have to think that they should take a step forward. If they are to be Red Wings in the future, they have to take a step forward. Otherwise, if they've already plateaued, that'd be the end of the road. And I didn't mean to rhyme there, but that would be said case. So the last thing we're going to do before we wrap up is take a look at a big offer sheet. And let's say the Red Wings landed who we talked about in episode 69, which would be Elias Pettersson. And I wanted to start by just reminding you guys, again, I showed you that first line. It's got a 5-on-5 WAR of 6.8, which, like I mentioned, actually is a better score than the first line for the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. But I did mess around. I change this team up just a wee bit, and we move Elias Pettersson to the first line. We land that offer sheet. Boom, he's a Red Wing. Larkin moves down to the second line. Suter down to the third. Veleno sticks with the fourth. So I guess I scratched Rasmussen here. But the important thing here is to kind of tell you guys what a huge move this would be. Because actually, I have a short list here of there's only 2 lines in the league that would end up scoring out better than a Jakub Vrana, Elias Pettersson, and Tyler Bertuzzi line. Those lines are the perfection line from Boston, okay, at an 8.8, and Nylander, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner at a 9.3. And this, of course, is Vrana, Pettersson, and Bertuzzi scoring out at an 8.7. Third best first line in the league. Now, here's the short list of other lines that they would be better than. Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen. Hyman, McDavid, and Puljujarvi. Give or take a couple of different right wingers for Edmonton there. Yeah, Palat, Point, and Kucherov. How about Pacioretty, Stevenson, and Stone? You'd think that the Vegas Golden Knights, who have been analytics favorites because of how often they throw the puck at the net and control the puck, that they would be doing better. But no, they're also better than that line as well. There are quite a few first lines that this line ranks above, of course, being the third best according to the War Roster Builder 4.0. But could you imagine being able to look at this team and say, hey, there might be a section of this team that's ready to go? I'm just saying. For everybody that laughed, pig snorted their way through episode 69. Here's at least the analytics to support that offer sheet. All right, let's wrap this up here. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Head on over to brothersoftdiscussion.com and bodpodcast.com to see more. You can support the show by heading to those pages. That website takes you to the same spot. Click on the shop page. We do have our Red Wings Rant t-shirts. We do have, you might need some more masks soon, but we also have our Yzerman Fleece, which is a fan favorite. The Retire 73, of course, after Adam Ernie's fantastic run. Head on over there, support the show. We greatly appreciate it. Very least you can do, hit the subscribe button right below me. We'll have some more fun. Mike will be back on the next episode, and we'll keep rolling. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in as we try to find more content while the Red Wings make no news. Thanks again.